Hello, my name is Lauren Johnson. I wanted to take just a few minutes today to introduce you to one of the most interesting and important sites in revolutionary America, and that would be Mount Vernon, the home of George Washington. NPS.gov actually states that George Washington lived at this home from the years of 1759 to 1799. Mount Vernon is about 15 miles south of D.C., and it's just a great site, has some great educational benefits for our students. If you go to mountvernon.org, that is a great website to kind of get an idea of what this site has to offer. There's actually a virtual tour that you can take on there. And the wonderful thing about Mount Vernon is it's not just the home of George Washington, and it really gives you a great sense of just the man that he was, his likes, his dislikes, just his character. But the other great thing about this site is it actually has a lot of different attractions actually located at Mount Vernon. It includes a mansion, which is actually where Washington lived, gardens, Washington's actual tomb. There's a distillery and grist mill, a pioneer farm. There's places where you can actually see historical trades that took part during that time. And then one of the most interesting aspects of this site is actually the museum. And the great thing about Mount Vernon, as you can see on this map, is the fact that all of these locations are located very close to each other. This is actually the mansion right here where George Washington lived. And alongside here you've got the gardens. And then over here is actually the tombs where Washington was buried. And then right down here, not far from the actual site, is the museum. And NPS.gov actually talks about this museum, the Donald W. Reynolds Museum. And this is why I personally think is one of the most educational benefits of this site is this museum. It has galleries, interactive displays, a theater, and one of the most interesting parts is over 700 artifacts are here. And these artifacts, a lot of them are actually primary source objects that Washington collected. When Washington died, his wife actually destroyed a lot of the correspondence between them. But 3 letters still existed, and they're on display there. There's letters written by Washington during the Revolutionary War, during his time as presidency, and I think that's just very valuable information that students can view and see and really get a sense of who George Washington was. A great book that talks about Mount Vernon is actually a book called George Washington's Mount Vernon at Home in Revolutionary America. This book is great because I really feel like it stresses the value that this home had to George Washington. The book actually says that Mount Vernon is the home he claimed to value above all the honors the world could bestow. This was more than a home to him. And that's the wonderful thing I believe about George Washington, about his character, that I think students should understand is it just seemed throughout his lifetime that he didn't care about the fame, the wealth, the glory, so to say. He seemed to value the things that were more eternal, more driven by a good, strong moral character. He loved this home. It was a retreat where he could be with family, and I think that this site helps to show students that. The book also describes Mount Vernon as a cultural picture of who George Washington was. I think students can see that because he put his heart into this home. And the educational benefits are just numerous. Besides all the interactive displays, galleries, just getting to see his home, the book actually states that Mount Vernon is an extension of the man himself, a tangible emblem of his character, his personality, his hopes, and his dreams. And I think this is just a wonderful opportunity for students to go and to get a better idea and understand more deeply our first, and some might argue, the greatest president in American history. Thank you.